Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. First of all, I would like to thank to Allah because of His blessing and mercy, I can stand here now. The Honorable Ms. Aseptiana Parmawati MPD is my first supervisor and examiners. Thank you for the opportunity that has been given to me to present my final research paper. Before I continue to present my research paper, let me introduce myself. My name is Sofia Ristari. My student number is 17220126 and I'm from B1 2017. My research title is Teaching Writing Recontext using Mind Mapping assisted by WhatsApp application. I chose this research title based on my experience when I did pre-English teaching training at SMP Negeri 2 Padalarang. I seen that students have difficulties in writing English and the less student motivation in learning English. It is support with the background that English is an international language that is used by many countries to communicate. In Indonesia, English as a foreign language, but English affects Indonesian life development, especially in education. For increasing student capability in English, Indonesian government decided that English assessed in national exam at junior and senior high school level. However, in learning English, students may have difficulties in writing. Based on 2013 curriculum, writing is a part that must be taught by the teachers. In addition, at the end of 2019, a virus has discovered in China and spread all over the world, now it's COVID-19, so it made a lot of activities including schooling had disrupted. Furthermore, the COVID-19 pandemic is a serious issue in Indonesia and foreign education, so it made teaching and learning process is not optimal at home. So the teachers have to find various ways to increase student motivation in learning process such as by using media. Mind mapping is an example alternative media because students can be more imaginative as they use mind mapping and they can visualize their ideas not only by writing but also by drawing the image on their minds. Based on my explanation, I developed 4 goals. The first is to find out the implementation and scenario in teaching writing context using mind mapping assisted by WhatsApp application. The second is to explore the student responses toward teaching writing context using mind mapping assisted by WhatsApp application. The third is to identify the student difficulties in learning writing context using mind mapping assisted by WhatsApp application. And the last is to identify the teacher's obstacle in teaching writing context using mind mapping assisted by WhatsApp application. In addition, at the COVID-19 pandemic, Indonesian government decided that Indonesian school had to apply online learning. According to Sharipudin 2020, online learning is a learning that is carried out using the internet as a place to transmit the knowledge. Online learning must be planned, implemented, and evaluated as well as learning occurs in the classroom. Furthermore, for explaining the term that I use in this research, I will try to explain the term related to this study. The first is about writing skill. Based on 2013 curriculum, writing is a part that must be taught by the teachers because writing is one of the 4 basic skills of English functioning as a means of communication in which written messages are delivered. According to Abrahman and Basri 2020, writing is visual representation of thought, feeling, and ideas that use written language to communication or to express certain message. However, writing is a challenging skill for students because the student have to know the process of writing. According to Harmer, the process of writing has 4 stages. The first is planning, the second is drafting, the third is editing, and the last is final version. The second term is about recontext. Recontext is the most common kind of text we can find in our everyday life. According to Atika Salin Ahmad, recontext is retold an experience in the past for informing and entertaining. In recontext, the sentence usually organized according to time order and chronological order. According to Highland, the generic structure of recontext, the first is orientation. Orientation is the beginning of the text which introduces the topic. The second is event. Events presents chronological sequences. And the last is reorientation. The orientation is the part of the conclusion or the writer's personal opinion. The third term is about mind mapping. Mind mapping is a concept invented by Busan in 1960s. According to Busan in Rahmawati 2018, mind mapping is a technique involving keyword, image, color, and line which connect each other. Mind mapping is a creative way for students to come up with new ideas. Mind mapping also can helping students to construct their own personal text. According to Windura, the characteristic of mind mapping, there are using pictures, color, association, keyword, showing detailed information, helping students to learn better, making students more creative. The last term is about WhatsApp application. According to Lahanisi, 2018, WhatsApp application is a free multi-platform messaging application that allows to share some media such as pictures, video, file, and more. WhatsApp application brings benefit for teachers and students to facilitate in teaching and learning process. According to Potikayasa 2019, the features of WhatsApp are messenger text, WhatsApp group, WhatsApp web and desktop, WhatsApp voice and video call, sending pictures or video, and then end-to-end encryption. One of the previous study that I used in this research, that is from Rahmawati 2018, under the title The Implementation of Mind Mapping in Teaching Writing Context to the 8th grade of junior high school. The results show that the mind mapping can helping students to construct their own personal context. Furthermore, the research methodology that I use in this research is descriptive qualitative research. Descriptive qualitative research is a research that describes phenomenon, reality, and fact that use word explanation to solve research problems. In this research, I chose 8th grade student of SMP Negeri 2 Padalarang in the academic 2020-2021. The total of students were 36 students, which consisted 18 male and 18 female students. The instrument that I use in this research, there are observation sheet, tests, questionnaire, and field notes. In addition, the result of this research, the first is about the implementation and scenario. The implementation and scenario in the 8th grade student of SMP Negeri 2 Padalarang show that teaching writing context using mind mapping assisted browser application is running well, and it can help students to get material well. The second is about the student responses. To find out the student responses, I use questionnaire. There are 15 questions, which consisted 3 parts. The first is about learning process. We can see that the result of the learning process was 93.46% student answer positives and 6.53% student answer negative. So it can be concluded that the learning process carried out fun, interesting, easy to understand, and students are motivation to learn the material. The second is about teaching media and material. We can see that the result of the teaching media and material was 92.35% student answer positives and 7.65% student answer negative. So it can be concluded that the media and the material used by the researcher can increase student interest in learning, and it can help students to understand the material. The third is about test and scoring. We can see that the result of the test and scoring was 94% student answer positives and 6% student answer negative. So it can be concluded that The assessment and evaluation carried out by the researcher was transparently, and the tasks given to the students were appropriate with the material that has been taught before. The third is about the student difficulties. To find out the student difficulties, I use tests. In this research, I used scoring rubric from Cohen 1994. There are 5 aspects such as organization, content, sentence structure, vocabulary, and mechanics. We can see that the result of the students' difficulties were 3.38 for content, 3.41 for organization, 2.83 for sentence structure, 2.97 for vocabulary, and then 2.8 for mechanic. So it can be concluded that the mechanics and the sentence structure is the most difficulties faced by students in teaching writing context using mind mapping assisted device application. In mechanic, the student had error in spelling, capitalization, and punctuation, while in sentence structure, the student had difficulties to change from the first one into the verb 2 because the context is about past tense. And the last is about the teacher's obstacle. To find out the teacher's obstacle, I use field notes that functioned to record anything happen in online learning. Based on field notes, I found the teacher's obstacle, such as not all students had communication tool for communication or to facilitate in teaching learning process. And the last is the less of student motivation in due assignment or task. Based on the explanation, it can be concluded that the implementation of mind mapping can help students to get a material well, and students are motivated to learn material. In addition, the suggestion of this research is not only for teachers but also for students and for the next researcher. The suggestion of this research for the teachers, the first is the teachers should apply interesting method in teaching and learning process, especially in teaching writing. The second is for the students. The student should learn more about mechanical in writing text and more practice grammar, especially in past tense. And the last is for the next researcher. For the next researcher, can implement the use of mind mapping in teaching writing of text. The honorable examiners, I think I have presented all the content of my final research paper from chapter 1 until chapter 5. That's all my presentation. Thank you for the kind attention, and I will ready to answer some question. Hopefully, I can answer all the question. Again, thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.